Buddy, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. I wanted to talk about something that I think young people, especially brothers, and just really anybody who cares about black people, should probably think about a little bit. It has to do with the rapper Future. I guess he changed his name to Future Hendrix, and he said something that got my attention, and I think it's worth talking about real quick. He mentions drugs, and he was asked, I guess, by the Source or maybe another magazine. I know it was in the Source, but I know actually the interview was at a French website called Click, and he has a song called "Codeine Crazy." Which is one of those songs in hip hop that has really encouraged a lot of black men to sip on that cup, on that purple, whatever. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of rappers who talk about this. They've been talking about it for a few years, and they really don't they're not so quick to rap about all the people that have been killed off this stuff. All the people that have committed crimes while they were high or whatever. They'll talk about the glamour of it and the glory of it. And what's sad is that I hear from a lot of young black men who are in prison or who had a friend who got murdered or whatever. And a lot of times that will happen under the influence. And so, me as a father, as a human being, I can't help but to be concerned about commercial influences and the way certain types of music really influence the minds of young people and make them think something's cool when it's not. The saddest story that I saw was a story about a brother who, hit some weed or something, and there was it was laced. It had something in it, and he lost his mind for a whole day. He didn't remember half of anything he did. He went around. He did a carjacking. He murdered somebody. He punched a girl in the face. And the next day, he was in prison, in jail for this, and they gave him life in prison. He just barely escaped the death penalty, and he was about 19 years old, still really young, and said that, they asked him, they said, well, what penalty do you think you deserve? And he said, I guess I deserve to die. Because he said, I just, smoked the weed and I didn't know what it was going to do to me. And next thing you know, he's in prison for life. So he's going to have the next 50, 60, 70 years to think about that one moment where he got high and where it fucked everything up in his life. And I felt so bad for him because the thing is, we don't tell young black men these messages. We will make a song and say, go get high, smoke weed every day, drink your codeine, just you ain't nothing but a dumbass nigga. And we will do that all day because white people will pay us money to do that. They will pay you money to destroy your own people. Because you are the best ambassador for black self-destruction. The best ambassador, the best representative for black genocide is another black man talking to a young black man. That we are second to none. If a white man was saying, go pick up your cup, go smoke some weed, go get high every day, we wouldn't listen. It wouldn't say anything to us. But if a black man is being paid to transmit that message of black male self-destruction, young black men will eat it up, especially young brothers who don't have fathers or are looking to end up looking to entertainment for guidance and role models. Now, we might say, well, that's bad. It's up to the parents. The parents should do a better job. Well, guess what? I'm in Chicago. A lot of these kids' parents ain't got no parents. Their parents are in prison. Many of their parents are high too, on drugs too. So, when we just sort of say all this, when we just say we don't care, we don't give a damn about our own children, we care more about the white man's dollar than we care about our own damn kids, then you deserve everything you get. You deserve everything you get. When you are more committed to white supremacy than white people are, then you deserve everything you get. So, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's interesting to me about Future. Now, as I was reading this article, and I'm not hating on Future, by the way. I've listened to a lot of his music. Future is very, very talented. Very talented. The best way to serve black people poison is to put it to a good beat. Future always has a good beat. His lyrics ain't nothing really. It's like right, and I know it sounds silly to hear me do this, but what that really is that is basically a toxic nursery rhyme laid out to a specific cadence that is gonna get your body and your instinctual mind connected to the flow of the song, right? So literally, he could be barking in the mic, but if it has like a little bounce to it, like a Mary Had a Little Lamb type of thing or rhythm, then you're gonna love it. Whether you're 5 or you're 25, you could play that you could play that literally to 4-year-olds, and they would start dancing to it because instinctually as human beings, you react to a certain beat, a certain flow in a certain way. He's smart enough to know this. He's smart enough to know I don't have to actually write any lyrics that mean anything or even coherent. As David Banner was talking about, he said a lot of rappers today are really just kind of mumbling, and so he knows he doesn't actually have to have any substantive content in the lyrics. All he has to do is put garbage on a beat. If you put garbage on a beat, then people are gonna buy it, right? So the energy. If I'm a hip hop artist, I spend more time working on my beats than I would ever spend working on my lyrics. If I'm really trying to sell some records, if all I care about is getting this paper and that's all that matters, then that's what I do. Now, here's the other thing. Let's go a little deeper. The other thing about Future that's interesting is that he's intelligent. He's a smart man. He was bragging in the interview about closing deals with Nike and Rolex and stuff like that. All these other white companies that are paying him money to sell poison to black people. That's a good business to get in. If you really care nothing about black people and you want to see black people dead and destroyed, then all you got to do is just either put it in music or in the food or just whatever, and some white person will pay you to do that. Because ultimately we're very we are very naive about protecting our community, protecting our children. So we'll kind of take anything. If he were Jewish, he couldn't get away with that. He cannot go in the Jewish community selling that nonsense or selling whatever and have Jewish people would kick him in his ass. They would say, "What are you doing? You're not going to destroy. We're not going to sacrifice the future of our people so that you can make a couple dollars. We're just not going to do that." But black people, we're still learning. We don't really have the self-esteem all the time. We don't have the necessary love for our children all the time. We'll sell our kids up the river for $1 in a minute. I mean, seriously. I mean, think about how many celebrities won't even go out and say Black Lives Matter or will speak up when a black kid gets shot because they're scared to lose money from a big white corporation. That's really interesting. You're really not going to see that in other communities. Other communities, there's more pressure to care about yourself, to care about your own people. And I will say this. When I see different kinds of artists, because I'm in that space, right? I was on the Breakfast Club a couple times, so every time I go in there, I'll see a rapper or whatever, and and I'm cool with that. Like, I love hip hop. I've always been a big fan of hip hop. And what's interesting to me is this. It's one thing if you're just ignorant, you don't know any better. Like, for example, I remember when Soulja Boy was thanking his slave masters because he said, without the slave master, I wouldn't have his gold and his ice and stuff. Honestly, when I heard that, I got mad. I didn't like it. I felt the need to educate him, but at the same time, I felt like he was uneducated about history, and that's why he made that mistake. And it's up to us, if we are true mentors to young black men, it's up to us as older black men to step in and say, no, you can't do that. But what bothers me is not so much when an ignorant person says something ignorant. What bothers me is when an intelligent person pretends to be ignorant in order to make music, sell records, or whatever. That really bothers me because it takes a certain kind of intelligence to know how to act like a coon. Really, right? So, for example, I remember getting furious when I heard 50 Cent give an interview with some white magazine. I think it might have been Forbes or the Wall Street Journal or whatever. And he's talking about investing in portfolios and how he builds wealth. But then when he goes to Double XL, it's like, I got this many bitches, I got this many guns, and this is how I keep it real, this is how I stunt. So effectively, there are people who succumb to the idea that black people only want poison, that black people only want to be fed self-destruction, and that's the only way to get ahead. I was told that when I started teaching black people how to build wealth, how to start businesses. I had people say, black people don't want to hear all that. They're not going to support any of that. They want world star hip hop. That's what black people want. You give the drug addict more drugs, because that's what it is. When people are giving you that kind of psychological poison, it really is a dope dealer feeding crack into your system, giving you things that will turn you into a zombie. That's why, for example, corporations, there's studies that show this. Corporations are more likely to market unhealthy food to black and brown people because they know that they're going to focus more on instant gratification. They focus more on the fact that it tastes good. They don't care if that burger's got battery acid in it, as long as it tastes good. And then later on, they're praying to Jesus to help them get rid of the diabetes and the heart disease they got from eating battery acid food every day, right? So I really get furious when I see intelligent people, and I think Future's in this category. I don't like intelligent people who save their intelligence for themselves and for their families, but when it comes to their own community, they're spouting ignorance. It's just like if I was sitting around doing all this revolutionary, thought-provoking stuff for me and taking care of me and mine, but then I got out here and I was just telling a bunch of lies to black people in order to oppress us, right? You'd have a reason to be furious at me for this. Now, I looked up Future's background, and I tried to see like what record labels his brother with. Who's paying this dude? Who's his master? And I saw he signed with Epic Records. Epic Records is the same record label that had Bobby Shmurda dancing on the table like a monkey, like a damn monkey, looked like the biggest coon in the history of all coonery, and had him doing this, promoting violence, promoting genocide amongst young black men. Black men are the greatest victims of handgun violence in America. So we have music being paid for by white people that is getting these black people who are desperate for money to go out and encourage black men to carry more guns and shoot each other, even though we don't make the guns and we don't create all this violence. But believe me, we are making other people rich, because people get rich when black people die. People get money when black people murder each other. So if you saw with Bobby Shmurda, they had him dancing on the table like a monkey. A few weeks later, Bobby Shmurda gets popped on, guess what? A gun charge. Well, you know what? I remember I had a friend that said this to me a long time ago, and it was a wise thing that she said. She said, if all you do is rap about roses, then eventually somebody's going to bring you some flowers. So when you have a young black man who is encouraged to rap about nothing but homicide, to rap about nothing but pop, shooting people, carrying around guns, then what's he going to attract? He's going to attract real killers to his concerts. He's going to attract real killers into his space. So what happens? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Eventually, the man who's rapping about guns is going to have to carry a gun to protect himself. Well, in New York, the gun laws are very strict. Bobby Shmurda may be in prison for the next 20, 30 years. And now that he's locked away, you think Epic Records is showing up to bail his ass out? No. They're doing what E40 used to say. They'll find a new nigga next year. E40 has a song like this. So the thing is, we got to learn how to read the writing on the wall. Black man, they want you dead. You are a threat to everything that's allegedly good in America. You are a threat to all of this. So the last thing they want is for you to be organized, empowered, and intelligent and conscious. They want you high, they want you drunk, they want you a zombie, they want you lost. Because it's much easier to pimp somebody when they are on drugs than it is to deal with them when they are intelligent, enlightened, educated, and empowered. That's why black men on drugs is the best thing that ever happened to America, because no group of people has ever fought for their liberation while they were getting high and drunk all the time. If you look at the history of China, one of the most powerful, most industrious nations in the world, you go back 150 years, they had a huge opium problem. The British were bringing opium into China, and they were happy. They weren't smoking it themselves as much, but they were happy that the Chinese loved it. They made it Chinese culture. They would pay popular Chinese people to run around and talk about how great opium was, and they all stayed high. So do you think that China had any kind of national productivity, any kind of serious initiative were prepared to declare war on anybody when they were all sitting around getting high all the time? No, they couldn't. They couldn't. They were a bunch of zombies. And their national productivity was nothing compared to what it is today. But there were leaders in the community. There were people in the community who said, no, I don't care who you are. You're not going to get my babies hooked on drugs. You're not going to destroy the community that I care about. So you know what they did? They had leaders that not only spoke against the opium, they stood up to the British, and they burned down opium factories, which caused a war with England. They had to fight a war because the British said, wait, you're messing up our money right now, and that's a problem. And they had a tough fight, because they were fighting against the enemy and their own people who'd been zombified by the enemy, who were fighting more for the people seeking to destroy their community than they were fighting for themselves. That's a tough battle to fight. That's a really hard battle to fight. But guess what? Because they fought that battle, China is now one of the greatest nations on this earth. They're one of the most powerful countries in the world. They're going to surpass the United States in a few years in terms of, according to nearly every measure of economic output, productivity, and capability. Why? Because they're sharp again. They've got their minds focused on achieving, and they care about their own. They are a cohesive society where they support each other. They have each other's back. You're not going to go into China. Let somebody try to go into China and try to promote drug use amongst Chinese children. Let somebody go into China and try to take over their economic system the way black people allow other people to take over our shit. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna work. And so, ultimately, I'm gonna leave you with a quote from Malcolm X that I think is relevant to this. Malcolm said a long time ago, he said, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk. Basically, they will create the problem. They will turn you into their problem and then get rich solving that particular problem. That's the model. That's the capitalist model that's used in America. They'll sell you food that'll make you sick, and then they'll sell you medicine that'll get you well. So with black men, they're going to sell you poison that's going to make you a menace to society, and then they're going to make money when they lock you away in prison for the next 150 years. I will just say, at the end of the day, that we can't let people turn us into zombies. I will also say this. We have an obligation to protect our children from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So I really don't care how much money a rapper is making by promoting codeine use amongst young black men. We have an obligation to speak up about that. That's the bottom line. If you want my child to listen to your message, and these messages matter. Future's bragging about all the money these corporations are paying him. Do you think they're paying him that money because he has no influence? Or do you think they're paying him this money because people do what he tells them to do? That if he's wearing Nike sneakers, young people start wearing Nike sneakers. If he's wearing Rolex, people start wearing Rolexes. If he's selling whatever product, people are going to start using that product. Remember when you can go way back. Run DMC rapped about Adidas. Adidas sales went up. So if Future is rapping about getting high and rapping about sipping purple, don't you think that people are going to follow the lifestyle that's being promoted? And how criminal and audacious is it for you to promote a lifestyle that you yourself would never be dumb enough to live, but sell it to impressionable 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds? What kind of a sick person are you, man? Now again, I'm not trying to turn this into a I hate Future fest. I don't hate this guy. I just want him to care about other people's kids the way he cares about his own. I don't think he would want one of his many children with how many babies mamas he's got. I don't know nothing about this guy's stuff, but I do know that he's got kids, and I don't think he would want somebody sitting in his child's ear saying, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to smoke this, I want you to drink that. Because the thing is, a lot of these kids don't have parents. They're looking to people like us, public figures like us, to guide them. They look to us for. I get emails every day from young people saying, you're the father I never had. Now I could be like, man, I don't give a fuck about that little nigga. I could do that. I could just say, I care about getting money, and I ain't sweating all that, man. I could do that if I wanted to, but I would not do that because no human being with any kind of conscience would ever do something like that. I say, come on, man, I love you. Let me give you a hug. I'm gonna hug you through the computer, man. You can do this. And so, why would we want to sell death to our own children when they're already dying more than everybody else? That doesn't make any sense, man. So, you know what? And I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, well, you hating on that nigga because he getting money. If all you can see is getting money, then you don't even need to be on my channel. You don't need to be here. You're not part of the black community. You're part of something else. So just go work for your oppressor. Go do your cooning and get your money, and we'll be over here trying to build something for our people. Bottom line, that's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.